Welcome to Sci-Fi Stories. If you love stories of courage and mystery, make sure to subscribe and join our growing community.
High Marshal Therin Kale stood knee-deep in molten glass. The surface of Avaris Prime had turned to crystal beneath orbital bombardment. Once it had been farmland. Now it reflected a crimson sky burning with invasion fire. The Virell Ascendancy did not conquer quickly. They erased slowly. Around Kale, the last of the Avarin Guard formed a broken crescent. Shields flickered at 1%. Ammunition counters blinked empty. Their capital city burned behind them like a funeral pyre that refused to die. Above, the Ascendancy dreadnoughts hovered in perfect geometric formation. They enjoyed symmetry. A towering Virell Warmaster advanced across the shimmering battlefield, silver armor pristine, not a scratch to stain its ceremonial plating. Your resistance has reached terminal futility, the translator boomed. Surrender and be catalogued. Kale spat blood onto the glass. Avaris does not kneel. The Warmaster tilted its elongated helm. Correction. Avaris is kneeling. Plasma artillery thundered again. 2 more guards fell. The defensive arc collapsed inward. Kale's command blade flickered and died in her grip. Power core exhausted. Her armor whispered final warnings. No reinforcements. No allies. The coalition fleets had fractured weeks ago. No one would challenge the Ascendancy this deep into their expansion corridor. Kale straightened anyway. If extinction was inevitable, she would meet it upright. The Warmaster raised its arm cannon. Observe, it said calmly, the cost of defiance. The sky cracked. Not with bombardment. With thunder. A sound too violent to be natural. Too chaotic to be Virell. The Warmaster paused. Cloud cover ignited in a descending spiral of fire. Something was punching through atmosphere without deceleration permission. The Virell targeting arrays swiveled upward. Kale squinted through smoke. The falling object adjusted mid-descent. Angular. Armored. Controlled. It struck like a meteor. The impact hurled Virell soldiers across the glass plane. Shockwaves rippled outward, fracturing crystal into razor shards. Smoke billowed. From its center rose a silhouette. Broad-shouldered. Dark-armored. Thrusters venting heat. A single visor burned white against the red sky. The Warmaster recalculated threat probability. Unknown combatant. Identify. The figure rolled one shoulder as if shaking off a long nap. A voice came through every open channel, bright and almost conversational. Sorry. Parking was rough. Kale blinked. The Warmaster fired. The figure moved before the plasma reached him. A rifle swung up. One shot. The Warmaster's arm cannon disintegrated mid-barrel. The second shot punched through its chest plate. The third removed its head. The battlefield froze. The stranger scanned left and right, calm as a surveyor inspecting farmland. Then he glanced at Kale. You look busy, he said. Mind if we join? Before she could answer, the heavens split open. Drop signatures. Hundreds. No. Thousands. Pods tore through atmosphere in coordinated arcs, carving incandescent lines across the sky. Virell Orbital Command barked panicked corrections. Too late. The first wave hit. Metal coffins slammed into molten glass and exploded outward, releasing armored soldiers who advanced before the smoke finished rising. Human insignias gleamed against blackened plating. A second wave followed. Then a third. Gunships screamed low overhead, engines howling like predators that had finally caught scent. Kale stared. You came. The armored figure extended a gauntleted hand and hauled her upright with effortless strength. Distress beacon had teeth, he said. Hard to ignore teeth. Behind him, the battlefield transformed. Human artillery did not announce itself. It simply erased coordinates. Precision strikes carved Virell armor columns into scrap. Electronic warfare pulses scrambled Ascendancy communications, turning their perfect geometric formations into frantic spirals. The Virell thrived on predictability. Humans weaponized unpredictability. A Virell siege walker rose from behind a crystalline ridge, cannons charging. The armored human sighed audibly. There's always a tall one. He engaged thrusters, shot forward in a blur, vaulted onto the walker's hull, and drove something glowing into its joint seam. He leapt clear. The walker folded inward as if embarrassed to exist. Kale watched in disbelief as human infantry advanced not in rigid lines but in fluid swarms. When one flank faltered, another filled it instantly. When cover vanished, they created new cover out of wreckage. They did not wait for perfect conditions. They manufactured advantage. The armored figure returned, visor cracked slightly now. "Captain Rowan Hale," he said. "Terran Rapid Response Corps." Kale struggled to process the scale of what was unfolding. "The Ascendancy controls this sector. Their fleet is reconsidering," Hale replied. Above them, 3 human cruisers translated into low orbit. They did not match Ascendancy symmetry. They arrived messy, asymmetrical, brutal. But their rail batteries fired with mathematical certainty. One dreadnought vanished in a flash of contained starfire. Another fractured under kinetic bombardment. The remaining Virell ships broke formation. For the first time since the war began, the sky of Avaris Prime showed gaps of open space. Hope slipped through. On the ground, the Virell line collapsed. They did not understand aggression divorced from statistical survival. Humans advanced into artillery fire. Humans shielded alien wounded without hesitation. Humans laughed in open comms as explosions rocked their positions. Kale turned to Hale. "Why?" she demanded over the roar. "Why risk your fleet for a world already lost?" Hale paused mid-reload. "Because lost worlds remember who didn't come." The words landed heavier than bombardment. Within 90 minutes, organized Virell resistance ceased. Within 3 hours, orbital control shifted. By nightfall, Avaris Prime belonged to its people again. Smoke still curled into the sky, but it was no longer alone. Human medical frigates descended. Supply ships followed. Reconstruction drones deployed before the last fires died. The invasion corridor had been punctured. News spread faster than warp travel. A single Terran response group had shattered an Ascendancy siege considered unwinnable. Across occupied systems, whispers ignited. They answer. Months later, at the Interstellar Coalition Summit, Kale stood beside Captain Hale beneath restored skies. "You changed the balance," she said quietly. Hale shook his head. "No. You broke the Ascendancy's inevitability." He glanced toward the stars. "Inevitability's just a story bullies tell." She studied him. "Will you answer every call?" He considered that. "No," he admitted. "Not every call." Her heart sank slightly. "But the ones that sound like this one," he continued. "The ones that refuse to kneel." His visor reflected the summit chamber lights. "Those are hard to ignore." Years later, on a different world far beyond Avaris, another city burned. Another commander stood alone. Another sky filled with descending warships. And as hope thinned to a thread, the atmosphere ignited. Fire fell. And across every open frequency, a familiar human voice asked calmly, "Need a hand?" Across the galaxy, new understanding settled into place. When humans fall from the sky, extinction pauses.